For the Marine Corps, the CH-46 was like the iconic Huey for the Army. The 46s, of course, went into Vietnam in 1965, HMM-164, my squadron. By 1968, there were 10 squadrons of CH-46s in Vietnam performing the assault support mission, which again is bullets, beans, and Band-Aids for our Marines on the ground. Bullets, resupply. Ammunition, beans, C-rats. For Band-Aids, medevac, or whatever medical support they needed. I must say this, I don't care whether you're a Huey driver or a 46 driver, the person who should have the most credit are those infantrymen that we both supported on the ground. Within the 46 Squadron, the missions provided by the Army Huey, LRPS, long-range reconnaissance, medevac, dust-off, resupply, the CH-46 squadrons did it all with gun support provided early on by the Huey gunships, later on by the Cobras. It's great camaraderie amongst air crews. I don't care whether it's a Huey crew or a CH-46 crew, because these are the people that you depend upon when you're conducting your missions. Your helicopters basically startup procedures the same. First of all, you got to get the jet turbines going. So you have starters to start the engines, and you have an ACC, Auxiliary Power Unit, APP, fire that up, that gives the power. Then you, engine number 1, bring it up, looking good. Engine number 2, crew chief is outside looking for potential fire or anything like that. You give the signal, okay, rotor brake off, turn him. He looks around, you're good. Off comes rotor brake. The tandem rotor helicopter, the blades are synchronized as compared to single rotor helicopter, Huey or whatever. Synchronized, that motion is put into a sync box. It's a transmission mix box in the back of the 46. So then they start turning, you bring the engines up, and then you're at 100%. Okay, basically the same procedures as a Huey. But in the meantime, the biggest difference is a 46 with tandem rotors. If you don't have your stability augmentation system, known as SAS, it's like trying to fly a yo-yo through the sky. Because for each effect, you have a counter effect, like a pendulum effect. So, okay, you're good. The hardest thing in a Huey, just pull up the collective, you got skids and you go. Well, the hardest things for young pilots like myself as a co-pilot was learning how to taxi the darn thing, okay, because it's a different type of taxi system. Once you get it, you're good to go. So anyhow, that, and then of course, the 46, of course, could carry more than a Huey. And another difference between the Huey and the 46, twin engine, we were completely capable of operating at sea as part of the amphibious landing force, if you will, special landing forces, so 2 engines. Because quite obviously, if you lose one engine and you're at sea 25 miles off the coast, you're going in the water. If you have 2 engines, depending on what your load capability or how heavy you are, then you can land back aboard the ship. Medevac missions were the most self-fulfilling because you're saving somebody's life. Now, Marines were there to do damage. But medevac mission, because you know you're saving someone. And I'll tell a little story, war story, so to speak. When on R&R, coming back from Hawaii, there was a Marine on the airplane. And he was a grunt, as we call the infantryman, grunt. And he was saying, back to the bush. Yep. So he told me this story on this particular operation up this valley. And the battalion had been put into an assault, and he got hit. And he said this helicopter came down out of the clouds. It wasn't quite in the clouds, but I know the operation because I was on that mission that day. And anyhow, this helicopter came down with a white YT, and he thought he was dead and got picked up, taken to Charlie Med, and so he lived, and then also, basically, he's going back to the bush. So that was, I don't know that I flew on that mission, but I do know that I flew on that particular operation because when he's talking about the clouds, I fully remember the clouds putting the Marines in. The kids, the Marines, I use the term kids, misnomer, but the kids that kept our helicopters flying, flew in them, some cases died with them too, I cannot say enough about. And I wouldn't trade my time and my squadron for anything in the world. It's truly, truly a family. But be advised, the only reason for an armed force in the United States of America, as any other country, be it Navy, Army, Marine Corps, is to go in harm's way and to fight and win your country's battles wherever they are. So it's not a paycheck, it's a service to God, country.